The sinister people behind the door. Let me get this straight from the start. No, I do not believe that my family's house was haunted back then. However, one thing is for sure, no matter what the reason was, something sinister had targeted me during the summer of 2006. It all began during one of those nights when my 9-year-old self preferred playing with a game, handheld with low volume instead of sleeping. At some point around 2 in the morning, my ordeal started out of the blue. I heard the door slowly open and quickly hid the console under my pillow, which literally muted the device as I faked being asleep. With care, I then opened one eye just enough, expecting to see my mother, the single parent of the house, checking on me to ensure I was asleep, but instead, the door just remained partially open. I waited for at least 4 minutes, which felt like forever, thinking she already saw what she needed to while my eyes were closed and hoping to see her close the door. When I was fed up with waiting, I decided to get out of bed and close the door silently. However, the moment I approached, the door was violently slammed shut. Later in the morning, by mere fear of snitching on myself, I avoided mentioning any of it to my mother, expecting she would then assume that I was awake the whole time. I went about my day, doing what kids do, and during the night, I was back to business with the game handheld. Once again, around 2 in the morning, the door slowly opened. "Well, Josh, you know the routine," I thought, confident and executing the usual choreography to deceive my mother. Once again, I opened one eye, and the door was partially open with no other particular activity. Annoyed because I did not want to walk to the door like the night before, I called, "Mommy!" faking a sleepy and tired voice to the best of my ability, but got no response the first time. "Mom," I insisted more convincingly after a few seconds. The non-verbal response I obtained covered me with shivers. 4 fingers, white like snow, appeared as an unknown hand gripped the top of the door, the way a person would do to hold it open. They were almost glowing in the dark, almost fluorescent. Was it a glove? No, because I could glimpse the dark color of the nails contrasting with the fingers. They remained there, no movement, nobody taking a look or fully coming in the room. "Mom, is that you?" I asked hesitantly. How could it be her? I knew for a fact that my mom had a personal reason for never painting her nails, so they were never that dark. I called again, worried at this point, and in response, a second set of 4 similar fingers appeared at the very bottom of the door, as the intruder unnaturally gripped the door with his other hand, I assumed. I began hyperventilating, mustering the strength to scream for my mother at this point, but when I tried, only a whimper came out of my mouth instead. In response, a third set of 4 similar fingers appeared in the middle of the door near the handle. "Mommy," I heard multiple people say at the same time. At least, this is how I can describe what I heard. It was as if they miserably tried to imitate me, frightening me instead. I just screamed. The 3 hands quickly retreated behind the door, which was then violently slammed shut by the intruders. A few seconds later, my mother stormed inside the room. She just reassured me that it was nothing and opted for me to sleep besides her in the main bedroom. Nothing else happened that night, and having my mother with me meant no more furtive nocturnal gaming, but at least 100% safety. How wrong I was. About 2 days later, I was peacefully sleeping one night with my back glued to my mother's chest and belly when I was suddenly awakened by a strange noise. I opened my eyes and immediately looked at the door, from where I was, without moving an inch, and witnessed a vision of horror. The fingers were there, the hands were back, but that time there were around 10 hands, and thus countless fingers, tapping on the door with the tips of their nails, the way some people casually do on a table when they wait for something. "Mom," I whispered, trying to notify her without alerting the intruders. Wake up," I insisted, discreetly tapping her thigh with my hand. Her response froze my whole being. "Shh, just ignore it, Josh. Sleep," she said, before placing her arm over my body to reassure me. Instead, what I saw mortified me to the point that I could no longer make any sound. The arm that covered me was as white as snow, with dark nails at the end of each of its fingers. Paralyzed with terror, I remained still, trembling to the core and letting tears of fear just streaming from my eyes. I remained there the whole night, and to this day, I do not know how I fell asleep, but I did. The next morning, I woke up to my mom getting ready for work, as if nothing strange happened. Was it really my mom? Was my own mother part of the intruders? I guess we will never know. We did not talk about it at the time and never did since. I requested to go back to my room the same day and opted for barricading my door every night. To this day, I still do so, no matter what building or room I spend the night into, and nobody understands why. I know that I have to. Why? Because every night I can still hear the faint tapping of multiple fingers on the door. Sometimes they even knock, but never say anything other than that distorted "mommy" for whatever reason. I just know that I should never come face to face with the sinister people behind the door. Killer husband. Luna was excited to finally be able to go on a vacation that she and her husband Alex had been planning for months. They got paid time off and wouldn't be bothered the entire time they were gone. Alex loaded the car, making sure that they had everything they needed. Luna was sure she would forget something if it weren't for him. "Ready to go?" Alex asked, opening the car door for his wife, who nodded with a smile and sat in her seat. During the car ride, Luna enjoyed the scenery of the different colors of the autumn leaves which littered the branches. Sunbeams cut through the trees, making her squint her eyes even with sunglasses. It was such a beautiful day that she knew nothing could go wrong. Arriving at the hotel, she went inside to check them in while her husband unloaded their bags from the car. "Reservation under Hart, please," she told the front desk clerk. Alex brought in the bags, and an attendant pulled around a bell cart for them. "Ah, yes, Hart in the single-bed honeymoon suite," the clerk confirmed, typing on their keyboard, preparing the key cards, and handing them to her. Later that day, they had dinner reservations at a restaurant, and Alex found the waiter overly friendly with his wife, which caused him to be a bit perturbed. "Honey, is something the matter?" Luna asked, concerned to see the expression on her husband's face change. "Everything's okay," Alex assured her with a smile, reaching out and gently holding her hand. She breathed a sigh of relief and returned his smile, intertwining their fingers. Even though he eased her mind, she couldn't quite put her finger on it, but something felt off. Of course, her husband had always been the mysterious type. When dinner was over, Luna waited in the car for Alex, who was paying their bill. Once done, he got into the car and drove them back to the hotel. Was everything okay? It took you a while, Luna questioned. Of course, the waiter just wanted to talk is all. I was so wrapped up in our conversation that time got away from me. I'm sorry if you waited long, Alex replied. When they entered their hotel room, she confronted him and asked what had bothered him. Honey, yes? Did the waiter's behavior bother you? Alex became quiet as he slowly took off his jacket. Not at all. Are you sure? He turned to her with a look in his eyes much different than the usual softness she was used to. Those beautiful eyes were now dark and full of an emotion she had never seen before on his features. Don't worry, Luna. I took care of it. Luna trembled. Honey, what did you do? Alex walked up to her gently, touching her cheek and gazing into her eyes. My sweet Luna, I would do anything to keep you safe, especially from someone flirting with you right before me, he told her, lovingly kissing her forehead. She lowered her head, spotting it. There, on the front of his shirt, was a small splatter of blood. It was crimson and most certainly didn't belong to either of them. In the background, the TV played the news, who were reporting about a dead body at the very restaurant they were just at. A cook had found the body in the meat locker. It was the waiter. According to the police, he had been hung up on a meat hook and wrapped in plastic wrap, then beaten to death with a meat mallet, leaving him almost unrecognizable. The cameras had been destroyed and no one had seen anyone or anything suspicious. There was no trace of prints on the mallet handle either. Whoever had done this was very good at covering their tracks, as if they had done this many times before. Luna knew, though, who had done this. Just like all the other strange reported murders, it was her husband behind it, all driven by jealousy.